Hello my friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about my real grade backlog, and this includes retail and premium releases. Timestamps are going to be in the description below. For new people or people who may not know, a backlog is when you see a kit out in the wild, perhaps it's for a good price, maybe it's a kit that you haven't seen a lot before, so you scoop it up and you bring it home and it sits waiting to be built while you work on your works in progress. Another thing that makes backlogs grow is premium Bandai releases, because these kits are printed in low quantities every once in a while. They're not always going to be readily available and they're not on a consistent print cycle. This means it could be up to 5+ years before a kit is reprinted from premium Bandai. So when you see some of these premium releases, you just gotta scoop them up. So the way this video is going to work is I'm going to pick up a kit. We're going to start with the retail releases before getting into the premium Bandai releases. And I'm going to tell you why I picked the kit up, what the design means to me, or what my plans for the build are. We got quite a bit of kits to get through, so I'm going to stop wasting your time and we're going to get right into it. Here we have this real grade Exia being one of my favorite mobile suits and my favorite mobile suit from Gundam 00. I got this to replace the Exia that's on my shelf that's a little ugly because the clear pieces were clear coated over or are missing. So this is going to be a skill check build for me, and that's when I will rebuild a kit that I built when I was more of an amateur builder and let my newer skills speak for themselves. I really want to do the Exia justice this time, and I may even paint this inner section of the shoulder armor a different type of blue, similar to how the Perfect Grade has it, as I think that really pops and adds a lot to the flavor of the design. This is Unicorn Gundam number 2, Banshee, and the original idea behind this one is to paint the Psycho Frame green in the final battle colors. I also do need to replace my regular Banshee that's on my shelf, as the clear Psycho Frame pieces have been clear coated over, and it's kind of an older, uglier build, so it's something that I want to replace with a higher caliber build than the one that's currently on the shelf right now. And I'll probably turn that other build into a more weathered build, maybe even cut the leg off and do a final battle version on that one. Who's to say? I don't know. It's whatever my imagination comes up with. I love the Banshee, I love the original design, and I do need to do a Banshee with its original Psycho Frame colors, those kind of orangey gold colors, painted. So I might even do just a regular Banshee paint job with this on the Psycho Frame before doing a final battle version. Here we have a real grade Epyon. This is to replace the Epyon that's on my shelf that has the spider webbing on the decals. So this will be painted with Mr. Hobby flat coat rather than the Krylon 1311, which I used, which ate those metallic decals. So this Epyon is going to wait a little bit because there's other builds I want to get to first, but I do want to replace the one that's on the shelf now just because it's not up to the standards of my build quality, so I want to replace it with something of my build quality. So that other one will either get weathered or will get transformed and stay in its dragon mode. That way I could have both modes of the Epyon displayed. Here I have a regular Zaku 2, and this is just going to be a grunt Zaku 2, so I'm not going to use the commander antenna on this one. I do like the real grade Zakus quite a bit. I think they're pretty solid despite being very, very early real grades. And I think the Zaku looks fantastic with the real grade styling. All the extra surface detail really adds a lot to the design itself. This is a great kit and one I can build in an afternoon, so this will be like a fun little rainy day project if I got bored and just wanted to build a grunt suit randomly. Here we have a real grade Wing Gundam. This came from Target as it was on clearance. At least my Target has mostly gotten rid of Gunpla on their shelves. So I think this was their way of liquidating the stock. So I got this real grade wing for pretty cheap. And I got this because I wanted to use the G rework decals over the inbox decals. And that's really the only reason. This is one of the best real grades ever made, and it's a fantastic design. If I were to recommend real grade to anybody, I would tell them this should be one of the first kits they pick up. Here we got this, it's a high grade, Joe. Why you have a high grade here? Well, because I'm going to take this, the real grade Strike Freedom Gundam. I'm going to take this high grade Mighty Strike Freedom Gundam. I'm going to put them together, make a kit bash to make a real grade Mighty Strike Freedom Gundam. Now, if Bandai does their thing, this would be a perfect time to get sort of a 2.0 of the Strike Freedom Gundam and include it with the Mighty Strike Freedom Gundam Proud Defender backpack. So I think there's some untapped potential here for a good real grade 2.0 of this, especially because it's a fan favorite. The backpacks are on different mounting pegs, so it's going to be interesting to see how I'm going to connect these two and have it so I could put on the Dragoon backpack from the real grade, but also use high grade backpack from the Mighty Strike Freedom Gundam, and then vice versa. If I could make it so then both backpacks can swap onto either kit, that would be ideal. Just a fun little kit bash project. I always come up with these kit bash projects and then Bandai decides to release the kit anyways as a full retail release, so then my kit bashes never happen. Now, if you watched my worst builds growing pains video, you'll know that I used a bad old can of clear coat on my Amatsu Mina gold frame. So that is why I have this one. This is to replace that really ugly version that is on my shelf. That is simply it. This is not a build I particularly enjoy, so it's gonna wait a little bit. I'm not super pressed to get that kit rebuilt immediately, but it is on my to-do list of things to do just to spruce up the Gunpla museum that is in this room. I really wish I could resonate with this design, but sadly, I just can't. Now here we have a really, really old Gunpla. You can tell by this shimmery black box on the back, and it's a GP01. This is the original GP01, and this only exists for a resin kit I have for the GP00, the Blossom. Now, I'm talking the real Blossom, not this UC Engage thing that's out right now. The original Blossom with the Radome and the big cannon. That's sitting somewhere in the closet of despair and endless whips. So that's why this exists. Nothing crazy, but that'll be fun to build a Blossom and have basically almost the whole line of GP series in the real grade form. Now, if we could just get GP04, I would be so happy. Here we have the only F tier mobile suit I placed on my real grade tier list. We have the Sinanju. Now, I originally purchased this to completely fix the Sinanju. I was going to do this off camera, but it looks like there's enough interest on how to fix the Sinanju on camera. So this is going to be a video on how to fix the Sinanju when I get around to building it. I just need to build it straight first, figure out how to fully fix it, and then I'll do that filming. So hopefully I don't have to buy two for that video, because I'd really not like to have to spend another $45, $50 on this twice, but it is what it is. If I have to, I'll do it for you guys. It's an absolutely beautiful kit. I just wish it was more stable out of the box because it does have a pretty bad reputation and it does need some TLC, but we can absolutely fix it, no problem, promise. Here we have a real grade Zeong from Hobby Lobby. This was part of the 40% off sale that they have once a month. And I got this to do a weathered build, so I'm gonna put some holes in the skirting here so you can see the truss framing underneath and some of the thrusters. I'm gonna go all out and do like a full weathered build on this, which is why it's sitting in my backlog. We already have the Zeong on the shelf, so this will be fun to do a nice weathered build on this, and then maybe I'll pick up an RG 2.0 and do a weathered build on that and go for some lore accuracy type of weathering on the 2.0, what with the head missing, all that. Pretty excited to build this kit again, and I'm going to be airbrushing it rather than using the Sharpies that I used on the previous build, so this should look a little bit better this time around. The next entry is a twofer, 2 full armor Unicorn Gundams. I do really enjoy building the Unicorn Gundam in a real grade form, and I do like all the added accessories that we get from the full armor version. So one of these kits is going to be a weathered and chipped build, and the other build is going to be a straight build, and both are going to get painted cycle frames. So one is going to replace the one that's on my shelf because, like the Banshee, I clear coated over the clear parts because that's an amateur build. That's what I did as an amateur builder. One's going to replace it and the other one's going to be weathered. Pretty simple. And maybe it's just me, but I do have a soft spot for full armor Gundams. I think they look absolutely phenomenal, so that's why I got 2 of them. If you watched my Growing Pains Worst Builds video, you know that I planned on replacing the Sazabi. So here is the Sazabi replacement here, and this one is probably going to be a full painted build where I look at each piece and paint the truss framing individually and all that. So I'm going to fully utilize all the details that are printed onto the molding here, If you watched my master grade video, you know that I only do my paint projects one at a time, and I focus on that one project till it's done. So I'm really just waiting for the time that I'm fully motivated to get into this and fully paint it from soup to nuts. There was some comments on my growing pains video where some people said you should do a series and fix these, so maybe I'm gonna take that other Sotheby, try to fix that one, and do a weathered build with that one. I'm not sure, it really kinda all depends where the cards lay out, but I do think that would be interesting. So if you wanna see me try and save that old Sotheby, let me know in the comments below. Now we're going to get into our premium and Gundam base releases. So we're gonna start with the big boxes and then we're gonna go to the smaller boxes. This I got for my birthday, I think in like 2022, so it's been in my backlog for a while. I really do need to snap this one and get it built. But this is the new Gundam heavy weapon system that my girlfriend got for me from Impulse Hobbies. This has a different beam rifle, a different shield, and some added armor bits and thrusters throughout the whole kit, and I think it looks really, really good. I even have a set of G rework decals for this guy, so that will help it look more complete compared to my originally built new Gundam that used all the in-box stickers. I've been itching to build a new Gundam because the last one I built was in 2019, so it's been about 6 years since I've built that other one. So it's about time I build another one and just get the experience of building the real grade new Gundam again because it's been a little too long. Funny story about this guy. I got this from Side 7 Exports, but this was back when it was actually a somewhat dependable service, and I said, this is going to be the only premium kit I get, and look at me now. So I saw this in all the promotional art and the promotional takeoff video, and I said, I really need this. This looks like a great Plan B type of full armor unicorn, and that's really what it is. I love the blue and the white. The blue cycle frame looks amazing here. I've really just been, I don't know why I've been sitting on this for so long, but I don't know, we'll see. Maybe this ends up on the build table sometime soon, but it's gorgeous, and it's in my favorite grade and iteration of the Unicorn Gundam. Again, we have another new Gundam. This is the Gundam base Gundam Park version with this giant fin funnel cannon. I love the additional colors on this. I do like these colors better than the original. I like this type of darkish blue, white, and yellow throughout. I think this really is like the Amuro color scheme. It really harkens back to the original Gundam, and I think it looks fantastic here on the new Gundam itself. I definitely like it better than the just black and white colors that we got with the original new Gundam. I don't know if that's sacrilege to say, but I just love this design. I do like the funnel. The funnel's really cool. I like how you can put it on the arm, or you can use it like the Predator would. I think that's a great design iteration of the funnel, because putting a statue of this with the original funnel rack, I assume would be an engineering and civic nightmare, especially like if something fell off like structurally and whatnot. So I'm happy that this exists. It looks awesome, and I think this is the best they could have done with this design in 1/1 statue form. I did skip out on the Sotheby with the weird beam tonfas. Hated it. I did not like that at all. But now everyone's asking me for a premium Bandai real grade ranking video, so I guess I have to buy one now, basically. So next time that's on Pbandai, I'll have to scoop up the Sotheby rival to this one. The next kit on our list is the Crossbone Gundam X2, which I believe is the villain for the Crossbone Gundam X1. I think the Crossbone Vanguard ends up using this. I'm sure there's some scholar of Crossbone in the comments who knows the full story between the two, but this is a Crossbone minus the mouth vent, and in this darker color with this beam lance, which looks awesome, especially in this real grade form. I felt that the original Crossbone X1 was a little lonely. The only other kit that I have that's a similar size is the high grade F91, so I figured I would get this to flesh that little portion of my collection out a bit more. And the Crossbone is also a very solid real grade. It's just a little small. Here we have the real grade Tallgeese 3. The real grade Tallgeese is a fantastic kit, other than that little tiny waist issue I have. I barely dropped my Tallgeese 2 and it snapped in the center there, so the ab crunch is a little weak, but beyond that, it's a very stellar and solid kit. And it's nice to get the Tallgeese 3 in the real grade form because it is a very fun kit to build. It's got a nice finish to it, and this railgun looks awesome. Curious how the heat rod is built in this. I wonder if it's all parts, because it should be very similar to the Epions, but I know it's not on a B-frame, so I always thought that was interesting that the Epion gets the full B-frame treatment, and this was like a typical piece where you put pieces together to create the heat rod. I'm pretty happy that we have all forms of the tall geese in real grade. From MSV00, we have Gundam 00XN Riser, which is the 00 riser, but with the riser in a different configuration on the back. So I believe it retains the wings of the O riser on the back, but it also has two other swords. A different type of GN sword. I don't remember the number of the GN sword it is, but we got more swords for an already sword-heavy Gundam. I thought it was cool to finally get this in real grade form because the master grade has existed for a little bit. This is going to be super back heavy, so I'm curious how the AMSJ handles all this extra weight on the back, because we don't have those wing binders that go onto the shoulders anymore. That stays on the back of the O-riser on the back. But this is quite a thick box. It's big and fat, so there's going to be a lot of pieces into it. I am happy that Bandai came out with an official version of the real grade XN riser. There were some third-party pieces that came out, but it's nice to have it officially from Bandai. All the parts and the fitment and everything just goes together nicely. I've been really itching to build this one lately, so let me know if you wanted to see a review of the XN riser in the comments below. Here we have a real grade Justice Deactive mode. Now this is one of the better real grade seed kits. I'm still waiting on the real grade Infinite Justice Gundam, so I really hope we get that anytime soon. Like the other seed mobile suits, when these Gundams aren't fully running, they're in this deactive state, and then when they turn on the phase shift armor, that's when they get all their colors. It's a neat little gimmick, and I guess a way probably Bandai decided to sell more toys. I remember having the MSIA figures in the day, the Chaos, Abyss, and Gaia. I got that in the deactive mode, and I think the gray scale on these Gundams does look pretty cool. What I like about the deactive set is they're all in different types of grayscale. It's not the same grayscale from kit to kit. So this one has a little bit more of a blue hue to it, whereas the Destiny Gundam is full black and white grayscale. So it's nice that they're not all just copy-paste colors from kit to kit. They all have their own distinct design styling in their deactive mode. So I like how Bandai was forward thinking with that. So you can still get a little bit of flair and flavor between the kits. Here we have the Strike Freedom Gundam in deactive mode. This, the Justice, and the Destiny all hit Pbandai at the same time. So I'm hoping we get the deactive Freedom and the deactive Strike sometime soon. The deactive Strike is really, really old. We have not seen the deactive Strike in quite a long time, nor the Freedom, so I'm really hoping we get those soon to complete the whole set of seed real grades in their deactive mode. I especially need those for the real grade ranking tier list, so I really hope I don't have to pay eBay prices for either of those because they're up there. Here we have the most expensive real grade, but not by a big margin anymore. If we consider the Akatsuki and the Shiranui add-on, it's almost as expensive as this. This is the real grade Phoenix, quite a thick box, same thickness as the XN Riser. And this is a fully coated kit. It's got a lot of parts to it. It's fully coated. And the only thing this really needs from me is the Psycho frame to be painted. I even have some G rework decals for this, so that's gonna look really clean once it's all done. I forget where I got this from. This might have been from Omocha, Japan. I didn't get this from USP Bandai. I got this for then. And it's just been sitting in the backlog waiting for me to get more experience with plated kits, and now that the Akatsuki's out, I feel confident tackling this at any time. One of the contested worst real grades ever made, we have the Zeta Gundam. This is Zeta Gundam Unit 3, and this is in Amuro's colors. This just came from Pbandai. I don't know why it's so dusty. I just got this. This might be the test bed for the Zeta video I do, because I'm going to do a video on the real grade Zeta Gundam. I don't have another Zeta Gundam, so this is just the one I have in hand. This box is really thick, and there's quite a bit more runners in here, because there's a lot more copy-paste runners for the different color scheme on here, because it uses a pink, white, and black color scheme versus the original Gundam Tri-Color color scheme. I'm excited to build a Zeta again. It's been a very long time since I've built a Zeta, so I want to build this again and see what I can do to tinker with this and make this more of a solid kit. And that way I can make a video for you guys giving you my best recommendations on how to make this into a solid kit. Because you could always glue it in mobile suit mode and have a very solid kit, but it would be nice to be able to retain that transformation. So if I could devise a way to do that, that would be fantastic. So that's what I'm gonna try to do with this kit. So I'll probably do that off camera with this kit, and then I'll just go ahead and buy a Zeta and then do a full video on my fixes for the Zeta. Here is my favorite iteration of the Impulse. This is the Destiny Impulse. So this is the Impulse Gundam with the Destiny silhouette pack attached, but it has expandable beam cannons on the back and 2 anti-ship swords. So it really is like a great amalgamation of the Destiny and the Impulse all put together. There's already one built on my shelf in its original colors, so I got this for another unit, and it's gonna be in the blue colors rather than this type of pinkish purpley type of color. This is a phenomenal kit. I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite Pbandai releases of real grade. So if you can find it for a good price, I would definitely scoop it up. Here is the Zagok mass production version. It is blue, so that makes more sense for an aquatic mobile suit. It's nice that they reprinted this. This was pretty scarce for a very long time, so I'm happy that this is back again in real grade form. It's just a blue crab. There's not much to say about it. I'm still so confused why we got this over a Gelgoog, as the Gelgoog is more iconic for Char over the Zagok, and there's a lot more Pbandai variant potential with the Gelgoog over the Zagok. Now, I don't hate the Zagok, it's just such a confusing pick for a kit. You know what I mean? Like, I do love it, but there were other candidates out there before this. I don't know what their release reasoning was, but anyways, we have a Zagok here. A fine aquatic mobile suit that looks great in these blue colors. So here's the most boring kit we're going to look at today. This is the expansion set for the Gundam 2.0, and this comes with the Gundam Hammer, another bazooka so you can have the dual wielding bazookas, the Super Napalm, and the Gundam Javelin, as well as a swingable beam saber, which if you boil water, you can do the same thing. Also comes with an action base 7, which is quickly becoming my favorite type of action base. You can do a lot with the AB7, and you don't have to mess around with all the knobs and stuff that you would with, like, say, an action base 2 or 1. Looks like a neat little set, and this has the B-frame in it for the Gundam Hammer, so it is interesting that while we don't have a advanced mobile suit joint B-frame in the original Gundam 2.0, we do have it here for its expanded weapon set. We got 2 more entries for you here on this list, so let's start off with the Gundam GCP, that stands for Gundam China Project, based off the 1:1 scale statue of the Freedom Gundam that's in China. Now the reason why this is a 1.5 is it still uses the AMSJ4 from the original Freedom release, but there are some joint revisions on this to give us better shoulders and biceps and things such as that. So if Bandai is able to reuse the frame, it looks like they're willing to put some more revisions into the joint, because we even saw something similar with the Akatsuki itself, unfortunately just not with the hip joint. This is my favorite look of the Freedom. The Freedoms never looked more fierce here, and the wings do look a little better. They're not much different, but they do look better to me because they're more scaled back, and they got these stands in the back there, so there's no problem having this stand by itself. It really is just a very fun and unique take of the Freedom design. This is my favorite version of the Freedom. Last and certainly not least, we have the Sword Impulse Gundam. Now I do have 2 of these. One of them is to straight build a Sword Impulse Gundam, and the other one was to kit bash with a Destiny Gundam to make a Destiny Impulse, and then the Destiny Impulse actually came out as a kit. So now that I have 2 of these, one is going to be built straight and the other one is going to be built in the Spec 2 configuration, so it's going to be all red throughout. I believe that's the colors for it. It's like a reddish pink. So that's what's going to happen with the second one now. But this is a fan favorite. A lot of people really like this kit a lot, and it does do a great job handling the swords. So I'm curious to build this and then the Master Grade and compare and see which one actually handles the payload of its weapons better. Thank you all so much for watching this video, my friends. This has been a fun little look into my backlog of all my real grades. I don't have a ton of real grades anymore, as I built a lot of them very recently to get them ready for the real grade ranking tier list. Real grade is my absolute favorite Gunpla grade, and there's a lot of reasons for that. So I really enjoy being here on YouTube, spreading my love and wealth of knowledge about real grade to all of you. It's really nice to see a lot of builders come around to real grade, even some of the early ones. So hopefully we can continue the momentum and keep building up real grade as a competent line of model kits rather than just the all the early ones suck kind of thing that it's had. I want to thank all my subscribers. Your support does not go unnoticed, and it helps keep me going and keep me motivated to keep pumping out these videos as frequently as I am. I only want to improve and get better and keep bringing you guys great Gunpla content that's focused on the Gunpla itself. I hope to see you in the next video, and until next time, stay safe, have fun, and happy building.